Hey guys, so I am here wrapping up my trip to Japan, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of differences between Thailand and Japan. There's very easy because they're very different, but the main thing, well, they're in Asia, right? That's the only similarity there. So they have, I guess you could say they have some similarity in the way that the Asian people tend to be collectivist. They're so they're kind of very conforming to their own system as opposed to Westerners. So some of the differences, I've spent a lot of time in Thailand, 5 months, 1.5 months in Japan so far. So the first difference, the weather is very nice here. It's very cool. It's very temperate. It's kind of like Europe. It actually has some more commonalities with Europe. One being the weather, and number two being developed country. So going back to the weather, it's about 72 degrees here, so it feels great. No humidity like over in Thailand. So at night, it's a little bit chillier. You might need a jacket and long pants. But this is October, right? It's actually almost Halloween right now. So I think this is not seasonably quite the right weather here. It's a bit warmer than average. So it's a pleasant, nice surprise for me. Change of scenery. I can use my long pants here. And, being over in Bangkok, hanging around Bangkok, I used to go outside, go out during the day, be just sweating, my shirt's out. So this is much more relaxing here. Now, if you like heat, which I do sometimes, then Bangkok or Thailand might be for you. So I'm definitely planning on going back there, and I'll tell you why. So Thailand, it's much more oriented towards tourism. That's like one of the main parts of their economy. So, they're expecting Westerners to show up there, and some of them speak English. So they're going to be glad to see you. There's plenty of hotels, plenty of hospitality businesses there. Whereas in Japan, they do have some of it. And right now, it's kind of exploding just because of the exchange rate. It's a lot cheaper to come here to Japan. So that's a developing economy, Thailand. Primary industry is tourism. It's like, I think the total is like 15 to 20% of the economy. And so one of the other differences there, if you're a Westerner, you speak English, you're going to be going to Thailand, you're going to meet like other tourists, many, Bangkok is full of hostels with backpackers there. And over here, that's kind of unusual. It's not the typical thing that you'll see here. There's a lot of Japanese people here, being that it's Japan. And it's just not typical to meet, travelers, So, in some way, Thailand is kind of overdone with tourism. It's like the main destination for a beginner international traveler, So you got the heat, development. So over here, it's like when you go shopping, you'll find there's Tommy Hilfiger there. You'll find all of the Zara, all of the upscale brands over here. Got Starbucks all over the place. You got people driving fancy cars in the street. So you've got, all different variety of food and technologies and things like that. So it's not cheap. Number one, it's not cheap, and I'll get to that. But at the same time, it's also not crazy expensive. So it's kind of like Europe as compared to the U.S. It's like in the U.S. everything is inflated in terms of money. So the exchange rate there, whereas some places in Europe are cheaper. Like say Southern Europe, Greece, for example. Portugal is cheap. Spain not quite as cheap, but still. In England, I was surprised to see that it's cheaper than U.S. London is cheaper than New York City, where I'm from. I'm from New York City, or was living there for a long time. So Japan is not. It's not crazy expensive. It's more than some places. So it's more than Thailand. So you'll notice. So just to give you kind of a comparison in terms of money. I am staying in the Nishinari district, which is one of the poorest districts in Japan. And it's just about the same price as I would go to Thailand and get like a 3-star hotel there. So it's a better value for your money. Their travel money, if you want to stay at a hotel. That's a negative here. I just chose not to upgrade. I could. There's some Airbnbs that are not super expensive here in Japan, and I chose not to get those. I just stick with a cheapy room, which is it's called a tatami room, and it's like a little reed mat that you sleep on, and with minimal things in the room there. So I'm okay with that for a while, a month. That's kind of my rule, is that I might do something like that for a month, and then I'm going to go back to get my regular apartment somewhere else. So the money is a negative there. So some other comparisons there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So yeah, Thailand, in terms of shopping, you're going to get, you've got Amazon in Thailand. I bought stuff off Amazon. You've got some of those, retailers that you have over here, but it's probably not going to be as sophisticated as what you would find here. And another big one is Japan is much cleaner. As a general rule, it's much cleaner. So you got paved streets. You don't have trash. In Southeast Asia, you're going to have some trash around. The plumbing is better. That's big. The bathrooms are much more clean, more like in the U.S. Plumbing. As I said, the plumbing, where you're taking away all of the whatever is inside there. That's a better system here. And they don't have trash cans outside in Japan. So the reason they don't have that is because they don't want to attract the varmints and leave, that. So you have to go indoors somewhere to throw something away. And then you've got, in Thailand, you've got a bunch of stray dogs. You'll find that in other developing countries. They're just a nuisance, dogs on the street. Here in Japan, there's no dogs, nothing. They're a nuisance over there. Down in Malaysia and in Thailand. Malaysia, they had some. So those, as to why they have that in those countries, I'm not sure. But Cambodia, same thing. You'll see some stray dogs around. Most of the time, they won't bother you there. But as a cyclist, Japan does not have any dogs. So they don't have pet dogs, which is a nice lack of this kind of nuisance there. So the beach, what else can I tell you about Thailand? The beach, the weather. That's probably why most Westerners go to Thailand. So if you go to Phuket or Pattaya, now over here in Japan, it's not really a beach destination like this. So, Westerners, one difference is that Westerners like the beach, so in Asia, that's not a popular destination, it's just not. So Japan doesn't really have, they have Mount Fuji, they have, all those, historical sites and places like this, and they have the cultural stuff here. But they don't really have that kind of offering there. So the Thais, I did think of one other thing. The Thais are a little bit less punctual than the Japanese. The Japanese are fairly well organized. They're kind of like, I guess, a German stereotype where they show up and do things exactly on what time that they say that they're going to do them, right? So the train schedule, for example, stuff like that, whereas the Thai is a little bit more disorganized, and I kind of like the Japanese more because I prefer that. They're in some ways kind of westernized, but at the same time they're not really very open towards English, So what else can I tell you? So Japan, visa-free travel for U.S. citizen for 90 days. So when I came here, I took the 90 days. I don't have any residence permit or anything like that. So I'm just going to take like 6 weeks total. They didn't ask any questions to me once I showed up here. They did actually search my backpack, but other than that, they were looking for contraband, that was customs, but other than that, there was no hassle here. And I haven't had any issues with any, for example, overt racism and stuff like that. I did actually see that in Thailand a few times. Now, the Japanese, they have, I guess, a more reserved personality than Thais. So I just thought of another difference here, or another comparison between the two countries. Here, over in Japan, there's literally no crime, so people are not going to expect to be pickpocketed or have their bicycle stolen. One of the interesting things that I've noticed that I haven't seen in another country before is that people just leave their bicycles out on the street and don't expect anyone to take them, even though it's not locked. Now, most of them have locks, but they don't lock it to something, like a post or something like that. So they just leave it. And I, of course, bought a bicycle. You saw in my last video that I have a bicycle here in Japan that I bought, which I just sold. And so you can register it with the police, but generally, most people wouldn't expect it to be stolen. They're just leaving it outside. So in the U.S., we have a big issue with bike theft, especially in New York City. It's just considered to be a nuisance there. So people just take them, and they have bike thieves that just go around the city, looking with tools and cut the bikes off and take them, So here that doesn't go on. I guess they focus on reducing crime. Now, crime is not zero, it's just very low. So, you wouldn't expect to have your bag snatched. And here's a story for you. Over in Cambodia, they have a problem with bag snatching over in Phnom Penh. So where I was living there, I saw 2 robberies. One of them was right behind me. Like, it was just some other guy that the people robbed directly, like, it was like 10 feet behind me. And I turned around and saw this guy falling down. He was like an older man. So luckily they don't target people like me, I guess. But here, that you wouldn't expect that kind of thing to go on. And so that's very unusual. It's a very good advantage of Japan. So over in Thailand, how Thailand compares is that there's a lot of scams there. Now, what they'll do, there's not really a lot of robberies, but what there is they'll tell you that you have to pay more. One hotel owner claimed that I didn't pay my hotel bill. Oh, I paid it, Of course, I know how much money I have and all. And I paid it, and she was just claiming that she probably put the money in her pocket and then told somebody that I didn't pay it, right? So that she wanted me to pay twice or something like that. So I declined her, and she just gave up. She didn't request any more money from me or anything. She just, the guy doesn't want to pay twice. So. But you'll see that kind of thing, lying about money. It's a constant kind of a Thai thing. But here, and what they do is they charge whatever the price says on the sticker. That's what you pay, and there's no negotiation or anything like that. It's just not like different prices for different people, So for the food, I think I prefer Thai food. I think Thai wins here. Even though Japan does have its distinctive, like fish balls and things like that. They have a good collection of, Asian food here. But Thai is better. Just because of I like the spices and the chicken and rice and things like that. And